You know, there are days when I just don't understand why you can spend thousands of dollars on a sound system and it still does these unpredictable little things. Anyway, all ages learning. Why do we do that? I'll tell you that from my standpoint, it's actually harder and more work to prepare this brief segment that we do together than it is to write a sermon. And there's a whole school of thought that says that during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, we Sunday schooled our children out of the church. In other words, they always went to church school. They never worshiped in the sanctuary. We didn't listen to them. They didn't listen to us. If you look around here, there are not many places in our society where all ages sit together and talk about things. And we keep hearing how important that is, and how both on the side of older people and on the side of children, there's a huge loss because that doesn't happen. So one Sunday a month, we have that opportunity to do that. And that's why we do it, connect, deepen, and engage. And I said to you, after we spent all those weeks talking about Jesus, and then we talked about the church, that we were going to spend May and June talking about some practical Christian responses to some issues in the world. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the issue of bullying. So what I'd like you to do is to make sure that you are sitting at least beside one person that you can talk with. Oh, I know, that means that you might have to move. I'm sorry. And let's mix it up a little bit, like especially over on the kids' side. And let's include the children. So with the children, we could have a group of 3 and 4. And remember, we just share at the level we're comfortable to share. This is what we call, adult education. You share at the level you're comfortable to share. You're allowed to pass. And remember that we've been talking over the year about listening to what the other person says without qualifying it or correcting it, and then having them listen with you. Okay, so I'd like you to talk for a moment in your group around this question. Were you ever bullied? You had to talk to each other. Were you ever bullied? I'll use my trusty gong just to pull you back for a second rather than projecting my overly loud voice. Inject into the conversation, what did that feel like? And now I'd like you to add to the conversation, did you ask anyone for help? And what advice did that person give you? So in other words, how did they advise you to deal with what was happening? So I'd like you to hold on to all of those thoughts. I'm going to invite the young people just to come into the center here because there's a video I'm going to show and I want you to be able to see it on the big screen. You can come with your mums and dads if you need to. Just wait, Heather, until I get everybody here, okay? Yeah, you can sit on a chair, sit on the floor, but it'll come up on the big screen. And I want everybody, when you see this short video, to ask yourself, what happened and what was helpful in the video? What was helpful? Okay, Heather, do you want to? And we'll pray it works. Not want to come on? Sorry? Oh. You know what? Click out of it once. No, here. Oh, that's what. Okay. When in doubt, go to plan B. And there are 27 letters in the alphabet? Are there? Okay, that means there's 27 plans. That is what we've discerned that to be, a failed USB stick. There you go. Okay. I'm going to get the young folks to come join me on the floor for a moment, because I was going to ask you something anyway. Do you want to come over? It's Madeline, right? Madeline, you want to come over? Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have a little ritual here. You get to introduce yourself, and people get to say hello. Hey, Emmy. Thanks, buddy. Can you not stamp your shoes? Oh, hold our breath. I think it's the blank slide before the golden rule. Okay. Oh, here it is. Yay, Sebastian.
Hey, listen up. I need to see what the hold-up is. Keep it down while I talk to the administrator.
Just put the sound up just a tad, Heather. Thank you.
Sup, Shrimp? Done my homework yet?
Yes, I am. It's just that you carried the wrong number over it. You're supposed to carry the 10 over it, not the whole thing.
So you think I'm stupid?
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I was just trying to help you understand.
Shut up, ugly. I should put you in front of all these losers.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I said shut up. God.
That's enough, I'd say. Leave him alone. He didn't do anything.
Shut up, Shaw. Is anybody talking to you? Turn around and mind your own business. See what you did?
Isaiah, it is my business. He didn't do anything.
I can't believe this. What are you gonna do about it, boy?
Stop it, you bully!
What? Oh my God, Sean, is this your bodyguard? What is she gonna do?
What you gonna do, Isaiah? Beat us all up? Really? I'd love to see him try.
Thanks.
So, there's a couple things I want to say about that film. First one is that it's a little deceptive because not all bullies are big people, and not all people being bullied are small people. Bullies come in all sizes, all shapes, and all forms. What happened in that movie?
The kid just randomly gets mad.
Yeah, he randomly gets mad. Do you know why he got mad at that little guy? Did you pick up what the little guy was being forced to do? Anybody see what happened? What was the little guy with the glasses doing for the big guy that was bullying him? Pardon? Yeah, I think he was doing his homework. Yeah. And what happened then? When the guy kept bullying him, what did other people do?
One person tried to stop him.
Yep. One person tried to stop him, and when that one person tried to stop him, what happened? What did the guy that was the bully do?
He didn't think the one person who stood up could do anything, so he kind of ignored him, and then everybody else stood up.
That's right. So one person wasn't enough. Everybody else stood up, and the bully, what happened to him when he saw those people standing up?
He sat down and gave up.
And did anybody see that little strange piece at the end? What did the guy that was being bullied do? Did you see that, Henry? Yeah, just put it right
It looked like he was shamed, and the guy that got bullied gave him a snack or something.
Yeah, so the bully got shamed, and the little guy that was being bullied, I think maybe offered him some candy? Now, why did he do that?
He felt bad for him.
Felt bad for the bully. Yeah. So I hope, I'm going to get you to go back and sit with the folks you're sitting with, but before you do that, I'm hoping that if you're ever bullied, that you, well, what would you do? Somebody hits you, somebody calls you names, somebody starts sending nasty messages over your cell phone. What are you going to do?
I would just be like, stop, give him 3 more chances. If he breaks, he stops. He doesn't stop. I give him one extra, and then I tell on him.
Then you'd what?
Tell on him, or just stand there.
Yep, stand there staring at him. So you'd give him a couple chances to stop. So you'd sort of try to stand up yourself, eh? Did someone teach you that, or did you just kind of figure that out? Because I think it's a great strategy. Because when you do that, you're sort of asserting your power. I noticed, Henry, I'm going to just ask you a couple questions here. You didn't say you were going to smack him, right? No. Okay. Why not? Why wouldn't you just smack him, hit him? Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I'm not allowed, and then I'm pretty strong.
Yeah.
I do it. He'll end up with a scar.
Well, you might get into trouble too, right? But if you try to stop a bully yourself and it doesn't work, the next best thing is to talk to an adult. And I'm going to talk in a little bit to the adults about what they can do to support you when you are being bullied. Okay, so you can go back to your seats because we're going to chat a bit more. So I've left some material for you in the bulletin, and I'm not going to go through it all with you. Notice some things in that particular video. Bullying comes from 3 things. An imbalance of power in a relationship. Someone perceives themselves stronger than the person who understands themselves to be weaker. So the person who's being bullied often feels that they are weaker. There is an intent to cause harm, and most often there is a repetition. Now, I wanted to just point you to the second page around what are the myths about bullying. And there's also some statistics at the bottom. And they actually talk about the fact that despite the increase in anti-bullying campaigns, bullying is on the rise in Canada. And it's not only on the rise with children, but it's also on the rise with adults. Think about road rage, things that people say to one another on social media. Think about the ways that people who work in stores will talk about how they've been treated by people that are customers. And that's because there seems to have been a bit of a culture shift, easy access to graphic pornography, racism, misogyny, reality television, and of course, even the political discourse in North America has become quite toxic with how people use language and how people talk to one another. Now, if you're reading through these myths and you're my age and you got bullied, do you, anybody recognize things that got said to them when they were bullied? Anybody get the children have to learn to stand up for themselves? Anybody get the children should hit back only harder? This is my unfavorite one. It builds character. Actually, bullying does not build character. Bullying attacks self-esteem and self-worth and can lead to people becoming bullies. And often people that do bully are people that were bullied or abused at another point in their life. The old sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. I still remember some of the things that were said to me when I was bullied as a child. There have always been bullies, and there always will be. The sun rises and the sun sets. Kids will be kids. Well, bullying is a learned behavior. So there's a bunch of stuff there for you to reflect upon, as well as some signs of when someone is being bullied. Some of you know my own story of being consistently bullied all through my childhood at school, and I still wonder why. I don't think I ever said anything to my parents, but I often still wonder why the school didn't pick up what was happening and intervene, or why my parents might not have noticed some of those signs that I was in distress. Because it's a proven fact that when our children are being bullied, the intervention of an adult to both, I loved what Henry had to say. See, Henry's already got a strategy to begin to deal with bullying. And it's a two-step strategy. He's going to try to assert his own power in a nonviolent way, and then he's going to talk to an adult. Like, that's brilliant. And then the adult that he talks to then needs to be able to help reinforce those strategies, intervene to make sure that he's safe. That may mean talking to the parents of the other child. And in a way, a lot of this has to do with how strong our self-identity is, how strong our sense of worth is. So I was thinking about the teachings of Jesus in relationship to bullying. It is a misrepresentation of the teachings of Jesus to believe that we need to be doormats for people to step on and abuse. But on the other hand, Jesus says we're supposed to try to love our enemies. And so loving our enemies means creating strategies within our families and with our communities to neutralize the power of violence. Like, I thought it was very telling in that movie when, after the bully had been neutralized, the boy being bullied passed that candy to him. Right? Like, that's kind of like what we would call risking reconciliation. Jesus taught that people that were downtrodden and oppressed and lost were very important to him. Jesus taught that people, no matter who they were, are all precious. And so we know a lot of bullying happens towards people who don't look like what the cultural norm is, perhaps don't dress that way, may have a physical or social challenge, could be transgendered, gay, lesbian, bisexual, picking on a minority group, either a racial minority group or a religious minority group. We also know, and Jesus taught, that punishment doesn't lead to transformation. So you can punish somebody for something, and it's important to stop violence from happening, but there's a further step of how is it that our hearts are transformed into a sense of peace. And so self-awareness is very, very important in this process. And the lesson that Dave read for us talks about how Jesus said to his disciples, "You are not my servants anymore, but you're my friends." And in the Greek and Roman world, of which Jesus was a part, Aristotle taught that our virtues kind of rubbed off each other in our friendships, as did our vices. That sounds a lot like what I used to hear from my parents. Be careful who you spend time with. And so if we are people who are aware of who we are, aware of God's call to love, aware that we have value and worth, those become important resources when we encounter violence and oppression in the world. We're going to wrap this up with just this second, "Oh my goodness, please work" video. But I just wanted to, before you do that, Heather, I put that slide up because, interestingly enough, all the great religions of the world and spiritual paths have a variation of the golden rule. You know, Jesus said, love God with your whole being and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Connecting, in other words, how I feel about me is what I am going to transmit to other people. But all the great religions of the world have a variation of do unto others or don't do unto others as you would want or not want people to do to you. Before we move on, let's just take a moment of silence. I just want to put your hand over the center of your being and hear in yourself that message. You are, doesn't matter who you are, precious, a beloved child of God, of value and of worth, no matter what anyone else says or does.